And at this time of the year, when you look at the entries, you normally see 4 or 5 because you've got the Side of Grugy and the Sprinter Sacras running. This year, 18 entries the last time we looked, and some trainers are obviously duplicated. In some cases, got 3 entered. We're going to try and decipher which ones will run to get you the value. And say at the moment, the 2 at the head of the market, is that good value? We're going to be questioning all that. So let's start with the favourite, Border Success, Border Success. Where do we start with this?
Yeah, well, you've got to respect it. I don't respect it at the price. I think there's better value to be had elsewhere. Obviously, he's a Grade 1 winner, so he's got the class. Last run 1 second in the Holden Gold Cup at Exeter. I don't think anything was wrong with this form. I know Q-Card didn't run its race, but I didn't think Q-Card ran so below form. On my own ratings, had him run half a stone below form. The form makes completely sense with the winner when you look at it, really, because they met each other when they ran in Punchestown. I used to have a niggly feeling with Boulder Success that he was more of a 2.5 miler, but he started winning around Aintree over 2 miles, but perhaps I was wrong thinking that. But no, I think he's poor value around the prices. Yes, I mean, he's got a chance, but I'd be looking elsewhere.
Miguel?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, really. I mean, Boulder Success, he's won his Grade 1, so he's got that in the van, but that was on a flat track, left-handed. He was saved for Aintree as well, didn't go to Cheltenham, so a lot of horses were past their best. He won a Grade 2 at Kempton, that's a flat track as well. Last year, when he ran at Sandown in the Henry VIII Novices, which is also on the card this year, he was hammered, finished 5th out of 6 behind Hinterland. And he literally...
Grant DeWay was in that race as well.
Tacken de Soy was in that race as well. And both of them just made Horlicks of... If you hit one fence wrong on that railway stretch, he was gone. So I don't know if he's going to have the... speed.
Would you say, though, it's improved as the season went on? You're a great believer in the horse flat tracks would suit Border Success.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if this was at Kempton, then you'd say 5-2. Yeah, fancy him. But
5-2 is a bit skinny. I see 7-2. So, but you still think 7-2 is not good value?
I don't. Not on Saturday. No, I could not have him
with Matt's money.
I couldn't have him with anyone's money.
So we're not going to put the cash in the van.
We certainly are not with Boulder Success.
Does it put you off that the second favourite, God's Own, has beaten this horse twice and Boulder Success has beaten that horse? I don't like to see that. The form, Matt, you're a big form man. Does that not concern you a little bit when horses beat each other on a semi-regular basis?
Not really, because I think we've got to remember the last time that was actually a handicap, and also that Boulder Success did make a mess of 2 out, lost momentum going as well. So there's nothing between them really. It should be off level weights, and I like to see the fact that they ran similar last time, because for me as a form student, I think, well, that form's right. You know, I can use that, you know, to handicap the race around. But I do think he's better than his mark potentially. He's got an official mark of 163. My problem being with him is his jumping. I mean, it's interesting you say he's better on flat tracks, where you would think jumping's more important to someone like Aintree, but he made a mess. I mean, Exeter's one of the easiest jumping tracks. I mean, not in the respect of not for
the course itself,
but jumping, because everything's uphill there. Right. You know, it's a good place to take novices. But he did make a mistake there, and I don't know. Like you said, I have a slight concern.
I can't get that performance at Sandown last year. I think if you've got to really take that into account, because it's the same course and distance.
What about God's Own? I mean, winner the Ryanair Chase at Punchestown, the 25-1. But fair to say, good ground would suit this. There's not much rain around. There's a little bit of drizzle, but there's not much.
It's going to dry up a bit, but I don't think the ground... I think it's still going to be pretty soft come race day. We've had an awful lot of rain recently, and I think the clerk of the course said that he didn't think it was going to exactly become good overnight, and it won't. You know, Sandown's quite clay based, so it'd be interesting to see. But at the moment, you're 2 in the market. God's Own is much bigger. It's 9-2,
and it won that race, didn't it? The Holden Cup at Exeter. I mean, can we read much into that? Yeah,
ran very well. He's a horse for me who improved last time. I remember when he got beat. I think it was round Kempton.
Boulder Success
beat him that day. But I think from then he's the horse that's improved, where perhaps Boulder Success has just been running more up to his mark. So on that performance at Exeter, I mean, he absolutely stormed clear of it, didn't he?
He was very impressive, and he's
getting a lot of weight though.
He was getting weight. He's a bit unheralded, because if he was a Paul Nicholls horse or a Henderson horse, then he'd be getting a bit more fanfare. But I think it was the Grade 1 he won in Ireland. I think they let him nick it a bit. They didn't really.
He got from the front and they didn't really.
I don't know. You don't win by fluke at Punchestown.
I'm not saying it's fluke, but everything went his way. And he sort of was laid out for that race when others went there after Cheltenham, after Aintree.
Mind you, Boulder didn't go to Cheltenham He was saved, wasn't he? He went to Aintree. He did go to Aintree.
He did go to Aintree, though.
I just got this feeling that Godzone's got more speed than Boulder.
Paddy Bremen really likes the horse.
Okay, well, we had a caller earlier. Alex said, get your money on Oscar Whiskey.
No.
Last one over 2 miles in 2011 over the jumps. And you would have thought that, as you get older, you'd have to go further. 2011 is now 2014. And Oscar Whiskey got the pace to win this race.
Oh, it's 16 to 1 for a Ryanair at the moment in Antipose markets. I mean, I can understand them coming for this race. He is a class angle, like you said there. He hasn't ran this trip for a long, long time. I thought it was a tremendous run, I've got to say. I was slagging him off a bit, saying he had no chance of a top weight in the Paddy Power Gold Cup. And I generally believe that he then showed his form as he did as a hurdler. I thought he performed in that race up to about 170, but it was more like it. And I think there was a massive improvement over fences that he's done so far. But the drop back in trip is a massive concern.
The drop in trip is going to really put his jumping under the microscope, and he's always liable to take one with him. Like the third last at Cheltenham, he left his legs in that completely. I mean, he ran up the hill brilliantly, and that's probably his best performance over fences.
So, yeah.
I mean, it is definitely, but it's over a longer trip.
Yeah.
Do you think it's...
They go slower pace as well, don't they?
Do you think it's coincidental, though, that what you think is one of his better performances come just after a wind-up? Horse has probably had a good summer, can breathe now. Maybe that will make a difference. I do find it difficult. I suppose it's a bit like the utility player in football. It's very difficult with a horse that you can't place a trip for confidently. The versatility is almost not something that you'd see as a favourable trait, because it's always going to be a nearly horse.
And it's more of a token gesture from Nicky Henderson going, well, Sprinter Sacra's not here.
We'll throw something at it.
Let's have a go with something.
No Simon Sig, no Sprinter Sacra, no Side of Grugy.
Especially after that Paddy Power run. It's quite soon.
You can't believe at 9 years old he's required more speed than he did years ago, can you?
Absolutely not.
You can't, and it would be a concern. But I mean, looking at the race, when I've just on my own figures, looking at the likes of Boulder Successor, I've actually got a bit better than his mark of 163 or 172. I mean, he performed to 170. Strictly on the form, you think he'd be there or thereabouts. But it is 2 mile race, and that's the problem.
I think he's a better horse than both Boulder Success and God's They're not the ones I'm worried.
Okay, well, let's talk about Willie Mullins, because obviously he's got 3 in the race. We think that one of them... we think that Felix Younger might not run.
Well, we think Twin Light will be going the Hilly Way at Cork on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then Felix Younger and Ballycasey.
Well, we might get Sam to look at the exchanges, because that's a fair pointer of which one might be running.
Normally a good guide.
But the one that we like... Well, the one you both like is Ballycasey.
Absolutely.
Matt, you go first, and then Miguel.
Okay, he had his run last time on heavy ground over 2.5 miles. I thought this was a great performance, winning 5.5 lengths. Looking back through his form, he obviously ran at Cheltenham behind O'Phalen's Boy in the RSA. That's what worked out a right treat. I know we haven't seen O'Phalen's Boy. There's one piece of form that more interests me, and that's in February at Leopardstown as a novice in a Grade 1.
The Don Cossack form.
Yeah, he beat Don Cossack 4 lengths that day and was going right away from his finish. I know he fell in the RSA, Don Cossack. He's been second to the Hollywell with many clouds in there. He's obviously won Hennessy's.
Yeah, you look at that race, it's unbelievable.
And look how far Don Cossack beat Wonderful Charm last time when they met. And I think I'm beginning to come round to thinking that this Don Cossack could well be a Gold Cup contender. And I think Ballycasey off of level weights beating that 4 lengths is very, very interesting.
Yeah, we was looking at that race and thinking, well, that one's won since, that one's won since.
The form is outstanding. That Ballycasey, they've always thought a lot of him.
Again, though, step back in trip.
I think that could be a positive for him.
And I think also that the ground, this horse has been running on ground and island like it always is, soft and heavy.
Desperate ground.
This is horses by presenting. He could even be better.
He will be.
On better ground.
Definitely, presenting's love top of the ground. So, especially if Ruby Walsh comes over for the ride.
I'm just going to get Sam to move up a little bit towards us, because he's drifting away.
I was drifting away in thought, actually. For once, I don't agree with something about Willie Mullins' horse with a good chance. I actually disagree. I think that Don Cossack race is a 3-runner affair. I think if you go back through the form, the horse is all right. It has a tendency to throw a wobbler. I've seen it fall live on ATL when it was schooling. I just don't know. For me, it's a niggly feeling. And also, I don't think Willie Mullins has got the best record in this race for when he has brought horses over, from my memory.
Well, he's going to bring one over, right?
Okay.
And we think. I mean, we've got Twin Light 10s, Ballycasey 40, 22 in places.
Well, shall I update you on that? Because I'm just looking at the exchanges now. Twin Light's 20s, Bully Casey's 15.5, they call it 14 to 1. And then you've also got Felix Younger 70s on the exchanges.
So that would indicate
Bally Casey.
So you won't be seeing
Bally
Felix
Casey can
Younger.
get 22s with someone. We won't say who. Someone's going to have to search that out. If you're offering 22 to 1 and you want to sponsor the show, sponsor the show.
It's worth.
Yeah, you know, that's worth
That's
it.
massive.
Yeah, it is.
Well,
Yeah.
in the RSA, he was a winner from a mile out until he just ran out of puff over the last 2 furlongs.
I mean, that race, I mean, Sam, you've basically been saying it was a free-runner race. It was a Grade 1. He went, there was no case of no false pace.
He went from the front.
Went from the front, and, you know, you can't... so much is made of small fields and
beat
people
2 Grade 1
slagging
winners,
them off,
though.
but it's Grade 1 form.
It's what he beat as well, 2 Grade 1 winners.
Exactly.
I like Don Cossack,
he
don't
ran
get
them
me
into
wrong.
the ground.
I don't know, I just can't see it.
So it might not be wishful thinking then that Bally Casey will win. What are our views on wishful thinking?
Wishful thinking, no. I mean, he absolutely took my breath away at Aintree when he won. I was left rather scratching my head when he beat the likes of Agaga, Soul and all of them. It looked a very competitive race. I think he's had his day. I think he was probably right for that race. He was disappointing last time, and really, when we've seen him at Ascot behind Alfroth, and I'd be amazed if he won this.
I think that was his Gold Cup first time out. He's got such dodgy breathing. They can get him right first time, and then he doesn't stand up to the training, does he?
The ground is not going to be to his liking. Good ground's what this horse will want, I think, personally.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Paul Nicholls has got 2 in this race. Dodging Bullets, Hinterland again. Going to bring 1 here, I would imagine, not the 2. Paul Nicholls was sitting on my table yesterday. I should have asked him exactly which one of the 2 he would be playing. Is it fair to say probably Hinterland?
Oh.
Well, he's won a Grade 1 over course and distance, so you would have thought with the Dodging Bullets having the same connections as a favourite, they're probably not going to put both in the same race.
Does that Sandown broke a blood vessel last time? Would that worry you? Hinterland?
Yeah, it really would worry me. This
should
is a Grade 1. In any Grade 1, you must come in from some form for me. And his form reads pulled up last time at Exeter and then beat 84 lengths the time before.
But am I right in saying that Novice Chase was one on the same card last year, won it?
Yeah, he beat Boulder Success and Tak Andersoy, 2 future Group 1 winners.
Was it fair to say going won the Champion Chase last year when it came down?
He was going pretty well. I mean, he wasn't going to win it. It wasn't going as well as the pundit said.
It was a patient ride, wasn't it?
It's a patient ride.
Given a chance,
he would have run. He probably would have run into third.
Within 4 lengths of side of the group, do you think?
No chance.
So do we put a line through the Aintree run because he's over the hill at that point and has probably had a bit of a
better fresh
season?
into that.
Well, he was a novice, got pitched into the Champion Chase. I think they trained him for that, so they must have really worked him hard. That was his day. I think he was just gone after that.
I mean, with Dodging Bullets, which is the other one, would you fair to say Dodging Bullets prefer going the other way around?
I don't think he's not good enough left or right-handed for this race. He's a good Group 2 horse. He's a very solid Group 2. He'll pick up 2 or 3 of those over the season, but he'd be way above his head in this.
I think he's very interesting. I think he's going to lack the class. He's not a Grade 1 winner. He's won 3 Grade 2s. He's a very strong travelling horse. What's really interesting, he ran third at Cheltenham behind
Ukizandre?
Yeah, Usaranda. And Simply Ned was in second. And if you go through that form, it actually ties in nicely with the front 2 in the market. And it says he's got about £3 to find 3 lengths. But everything that I see about him visually, I think he's got to step up on that. I think he's got to find a few lengths with the favourites, the first and second favourite in this race. But and I think he'll fall a little bit short.
Now, I asked the question before the show started, and I said, is there any horse in this race that could get within 4 lengths of side Grugy in the Champion Chase? And there is one here. Summersby, which is grown old, I mean, but it's rated as high as some of these in here, 162, which makes him a pound behind the favourite here. I mean, it obviously last in that race at Exeter. Can Summersby, give Mick Shannon and no doubt Henry Antonite, who's obviously heavily involved, like a swan song in this race?
Not for me. The horse is 10 years old. I've been with this horse since the day when it won its Novice Chase, beating Crackaway Jack, if you remember back whenever that was.
Emma Lavelle's horse.
And he's done nothing but disappoint, to be quite honest. I followed him over a cliff. He was looking tripless, and then all of a sudden he shows all the best form at Ascot, and that's what's disappointing for me last time on a track he normally likes. He's just got, it's...
So you followed him up a cliff and you
Matt
had no
Moose
money in
beaten this horse. Come on, guys. Matt Moose.
Which runs? We're going to have a minute on that in a minute.
Well, I would say as well, don't forget, they had the race at Ascot fairly recently in Alfroth. ran him into the ground, and Paul Nicholls felt Alfred would need the run. Well, it didn't look like he needed the run. If that's him needing the run, it was very eye-catching, and nothing was getting to him that day. You know, once he hit the front,
he always wins first time out, Alfred.
Yeah.
Every season,
absolutely.
First time out.
Those trainer quotes in the I never read them. I quickly turn the page because they just put you away left, right, and centre.
Yeah.
Right, so we don't fancy Summersby. Mad Moose was banned indefinitely. May well running this 100 to 1. Is it 100 to 1 that it will start with the rest of the field?
Well, that's people's choice. I mean, lots been made of the horse should be banned and shouldn't be allowed back on the track. But you know, as punters, you're taking the chance.
You know that.
You know
that's
what's going to happen.
That's factored into the price.
I suppose the other side of the coin is if you're new to racing, you go to racing, you can have a few quid on one, and then it's time to start the race. It
should carry a health warning in the race card. Yeah.
But perhaps it should. I mean, there's an idea.
But you know, if it's undergone that intensive training that the BHA must have wanted the horse to have before they let it come back, you know, if they've had horse whisperers working with it or whatever they've done, they've got to have done something to convince the racing authorities to give the horse another chance. You know, it's a very difficult one. When you watch the horse set off so far behind.
So Paul Nicholls has won this. Paul Nicholls. Sorry, Miguel.
I was just going to say about Mad Moose. If he did start the race, I mean, he's 100 to 1 at the minute. You could probably go tomorrow and have £10 on the dog at Romford. He'll get knocked over at the first bend. He could do a lot worse. Stick a tenner on this. He's going to run. A lot of horses won't be they won't all be declared. No. So he won't be 100 to 1 on Saturday morning. That'd be like buying money anyway if you wanted to lay some of it off.
OK, we're going to move on. But Paul Nicholls has won this 8 times, I think, in 11 years. You don't fancy Interland, you don't fancy Dodgy Bullet. So what's your pick for the Tingle Creek?
Without a doubt, I just hope it runs. I mean, I wouldn't be getting involved now until I knew it was a definite runner. But on the day, if Bally Casey turns up, goodness me, I want to be involved. And to be honest, I think I'd want to be involved at half the price it is now. Yeah,
I agree wholeheartedly. Bally Casey, it's a one horse there that's got a bit of star appeal for me.
And you, Sam?
There's one we haven't mentioned, 5-year-old Harry Fry, Vukovar. Could be interesting, really unexposed possibly. Could be thrown into this race. You're looking at 12s, 14 to 1.
Okay.
I'll go.
And which one?
I'll go Vukovar. Yeah, I'm going to go for something a little. We need to see something turn up.